Today we'll be discussing the peripheral nervous system. First, we'll talk about exactly what the nervous system is. The nervous system is broken down into two parts, which is the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is made of the brain and the spinal cord, which is this long structure right here. Then the peripheral nervous system is made of the peripheral nerves, which are these long string-like structures that we see here. The peripheral nervous system is then further broken down into two more parts, which are the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is for voluntary movements, so these are movements that you can consciously control. And these include skeletal muscles, which are muscles that you would use to move your body parts, such as your biceps and triceps in your arms, or your quadriceps in your legs, or your abdominal muscles, etc. The autonomic nervous system is for involuntary control. So these typically would include smooth muscle around your blood vessels, your glands, and your internal organs. The autonomic nervous system is further divided into two parts, which is the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. These two systems are opposites of each other, and only one or the other would be turned on. They would not be both on at the same time. So the parasympathetic nervous system is also called the rest and digest, and it is typically activated when you're at rest and you're relaxed. Meanwhile, the sympathetic nervous system is also called the fight or flight, and it is turned on when you're in dangerous situations and you're really scared. These two systems differ in the different processes that happen in the body, and we'll go over them one by one. Starting with the eyes, during parasympathetic activation, so when you're at rest, your pupils will be constricted, meaning less light is able to enter your eyes. Meanwhile, for sympathetic, your pupils are dilated, allowing more light into your eyes so that you can have a better view of your current situation. Next, salivation. During parasympathetic activation, your salivation would be turned on because this is when you're relaxed and you're digesting, so salivation helps with that process. And the opposite for that would be during sympathetic activation, so you wouldn't want to be salivating while you're in a dangerous situation. Next is heart rate and breathing. They would both be decreased during parasympathetic activation. So when you're at rest, your heart rate is not as fast and your breathing is more shallow rather than deep. And the opposite is true for sympathetic, because when you're in a dangerous situation, you would need increased heart rate and breathing in order for adequate oxygenation. Next is digestion and urination. So when you're at rest, these processes are turned on, while the opposite is true for sympathetic, because during dangerous situations, you wouldn't really necessarily want these to be turned on. You would want your attention to be diverted into the current situation rather than having to digest and urinate. For this lesson, there is an online game that you can play. It's really fun and it helps you use what you learned in this lesson and apply it. So the link for it is shown right here. And during this game, you would decide what would be seen in someone with an activated sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous system. So in this example, it's asking for a activated sympathetic nervous system. And when you hover over these options right here, it will give you a description. So this one would be, for example, salivating right here and versus non-salivating. So in someone with a activated sympathetic nervous system, you would pick this one, which is a non-salivating mouth, because when your sympathetic nervous system is activated, salivation is inhibited. So that is the general idea of this game, and you can try it with the rest of these body parts. And then when you're done with the sympathetic nervous system, it'll ask you about the parasympathetic nervous system. And in addition, when you hover over these buttons right here, it'll actually give you a brief description and the reason for it also. So it's really cool, and you guys should definitely check it out.